Okay, thanks for allowing me to do this. I really do enjoy doing this, so hopefully it shows. I'm going to jump right in because I have 8 pages, and I apologize for the delay. I'll still get this in under the deadline. I think the deadline is like 10 a.m., so I think I'll still get it in. But I really wanted to get it to you yesterday, but had some laptop issues, so I am getting it to you now, and it's 7:40 in the morning. So hopefully you find it useful. These videos I do used to take like 2.5 hours, and it was just too much. So there's some things I'm going to link to videos that I've made on YouTube, and if you want more detailed information on those topics, watch those videos. Or if you want me to do a detailed video for you on that topic for your specific website, just reach out to me. I don't mind doing it at all, but I just don't want. I'm very hesitant to waste people's time. The problem is you can't really give a good audit if you just do it in 20 minutes. A lot of people do that, and you're just not giving enough information, right? So that's what I'm trying to balance. So this will probably be about an hour, as opposed to like 2.5 hours, which is crazy. But you know, I like providing. I want people to get their money's worth. So like I said, if you don't want to watch those videos, I'll show them. I'll give you a basic overview of what they are. But if you need me to do detailed videos for you, let me know, and I'll certainly do them. So let me get some basic, just general stuff out of the way. First bullet point is be patient. Anytime you make changes, and if it doesn't work for a week, you need to just wait. Sometimes Google, it can take weeks or months for Google to take those changes into account. Because what a lot of people do is they make a change, they wait 2 weeks, things don't improve, or maybe they get worse, and they go change things again real quick. That's not what you want to do, because you need to give Google time to understand the context of what's going on. And hopefully it works. And with SEO, we don't have a magic bullet, right? Part of SEO is you're constantly having to try new stuff until you find out what works, because things are always changing. And I'll get into a lot more of that. So like I said, nobody knows. Nobody knows Google's algorithm. I don't even know if there's one person in Google that knows the entire algorithm to be possible. We do know there's hundreds of ranking signals, and we have been told certain things are ranking signals, but we really don't know the order of it all. Steady and consistent wins. A lot of times through this video, I should say I think, or based on research, but I'm going to forget to do that, right? So anytime I say do this, just understand that I can't say with 100% certainty that's what you got to do, but it's stuff that has worked for me. It's stuff that has worked with my clients. So this is one of those points. Steady and consistent wins. So this goes to content, right? Content, why content's important is it drives traffic. So you want to get that really good traffic. I like doing the 5W content I call the 5 Ws. Who, what, when, where, who, what, when, where, why. That's the 5 Ws. Content that people are actually typing into into Google or Bing. Most people forget about Bing. Most people forget about DuckDuckGo, and we'll get into that. Because that's going to drive traffic to your website. Then, of course, you upsell your services in your content. Also, it's a lot easier to plug your content in message forums on Reddit and Facebook groups than it is your services, because your services are going to seem spammy, and we'll get into that. And here's why it's important. Google knows it can understand that you're a legal website. You have trademark services. You offer secretarial services, is a word that I just learned. But if you don't have anything, it's called, now I can't even think of the word. It's called, it's not technical proof, but you understand, that's not, I can't think of the word right now, but it's like technical proof. If you have a lot of content related to the topics that you sell, Google's going to start to understand, wow, you are an expert on this topic, especially if people come to your website and read that content on the topics you're trying to sell. So the more traffic you get leads to more traffic, which leads to more traffic. So the more traffic you're getting on your content, the more traffic you're going to start to get when somebody searches for, secretarial service near me. It's very critical. Like the phrase content is king is so cliche, but it's totally true. That's how you have to draw people to your website. And the steady part of this and the consistent part of this, and I guess I should have said this before, is if you're going to post once a month, kind of stick to once a month. That seems to work. If you're going to do once a week, try to stick to once a week. So what happens with a lot of my clients and myself on my websites, a lot of times I'll just get like this urge of energy and I'll write 5 pieces of content in 2 days. Instead of blasting all those out, as rewarding as that is to like reward myself personally for putting all that work in, you just want to schedule them out. For example, on my YouTube channel, I have, I think, 3 videos queued up. I really want to push them out now because I'm proud of them, but you want to schedule those out, right? So that's what that means. And then read the quality rater guidelines. So I'm going to send you a bunch of inclusions. What the quality rater guidelines is this, not that. We'll get into that. These Google hires raters. They hire people, contractors, to look at search results and rank the search results. So this helps Google improve the algorithm because they can see, okay, this top result doesn't meet the query. This one's good, right? So if you want to understand what Google's looking for, take the time and just read through this. I mean, this is exactly what they're looking for. It might look overwhelming, 172 pages, but most people can blow through this. You know, you can kind of just get an idea. You can just read this, then most people just read this. And if you get into like watching how people use your website, which we'll get into, you kind of see most people read this, then they'll read this, then they'll skip to this paragraph and skip around. So you can just probably get through this in 30 minutes. And it's something, if you're going to be serious about SEO, it's something you definitely should do. This is kind of the Bible of what people are looking for, right? So if you don't do that, then you're kind of, honestly, just kind of wasting your time. Okay. And then I also do security and performance gigs as well for WordPress. Now, your performance is really good. There's absolutely nothing to work on there, which is very shocking. I mean, that's nothing personal, but most websites I work with, the performance is just suboptimal, at least mediocre. And so I help them with that. So you don't need any help there. But I did find some security issues, nothing major, but some best practices type stuff that I was able to determine just by doing some, tests and poking around. So if you want me to do one of those audits, I do those. I have that gig on the website. You can buy that, or we can talk, whatever. And I guess the upside is I have a, and it's more than just a security plugin, but I do have a agency license for iTheme Security Pro, and I can just give that to you for free. And, I can configure all that as well. So here's a video I made. So this is another video I made. I just uploaded it, and it's a 30-minute video on basically how to configure. And my YouTube's slow because I have extensions. Security profiles, and this is the hold on 1 second. See, iTheme admin right here, which is me. iTheme Security Pro Premium WordPress plugin tutorial and configuration. So if you want to see how to install it, you go there. Anything I'm going to show you here, I'm going to tell you how to do it too. I'm going to give you the plan that I use. I'm not just going to say it, then you have to come back to me and say, well, that's all good now. Can I hire you to do it? I mean, you can hire me to do it, but I want to give you as much information possible to empower you guys to do it on your own if you'd like, right? I'm going to give you my exact plan. So, content. I have this qualify and conquer, and I'm going to give you the document as well. And it's in draft, and I really need to update it. But this is a 33-minute video. Focus on intent, right? You want to look at intent, whether it's informational, transactional. My free detailed process for creating SEO content that you can rank for. So while it's called qualify, it's you're qualifying that the content you're going to write, you have a statistically decent chance of ranking for. Right? And you want to make sure people are actually looking for that content. You don't want to write a content piece that nobody's searching for. And then conquer is actually how to create that document and how to write it effectively. So I'm going to send you this process, and it's honestly something I've been meaning to update for a long time. It's draft mode, but this will just give you the basic steps of how to do it all. And I'll just kind of give you an idea. So this is a bunch of stuff, right? Okay, so I'll just give you an idea. So, how do you find out what people are searching for? So basically go to Answer the Public and type in your keyword. So copyright law. So if you go to Google and type in copyright law, space, these are auto-suggest things, right? So definition, protect. So these are topics you might want to write about. Now these are very vague, right? So the copyright law of 1976. You might be thinking, well, that's not going to lead to any more leads, but it's going to lead to traffic to your website, which goes back to the point I made earlier. So you can do of 1976 and just keep going. Fair use, right? And just kind of autocomplete to see what people are searching on. Copyright law of the Philippines. It may seem irrelevant to you, but you want to get that traffic. Even if you're getting traffic from people in the Philippines or China or Russia, and they're not going to do business with you, you want to get as much traffic as possible, right? Let's just do copyright law. Let me make sure I have keywords everywhere enabled. So this is an extension I use called Keywords Everywhere. There's a free version and a paid version. The free version should do good enough for you. SEO Quake is another extension I use. We'll get into that. SEO Quake, so you can see it there. And Text Optimizer is another extension. Uber Suggest is another extension. So you can get all kinds of good information on domains, whatever. So let me just, so how do you know what to write for? So, and this is all in that document, so I'm just going to do it very high level. Again, this is something I used to spend 45 minutes on talking to people. and it's just too much. So you can go down here to keywords everywhere. So Uber suggests copyright law of the Philippines. Okay, we saw that. Copyright law summary, Philippines, penalties, and so what are some copyright infringement penalties? And you can do in the US, you can do in Sweden, whatever. And the thing is, you don't have to know these answers. All you have to do is go to the top 5 results and then combine those into a really good content piece, right? And you could pay somebody on Fiverr like $50 to do that for you. It's maybe even cheaper. And I have a content person that's really good if you want me to refer you to that. So, okay, that's good, but it's still kind of vague. Another place you could look at are people also ask. So on this topic, let me go back to the original seed word, copyright law of the Philippines. So let's just say you're doing that, which you're probably not going to do, right? There's a lot more specific things to US you could do. These are headers, H1s, H2s, that I would probably include in the document. These are what people are asking. Now, you can go, there's people also ask scrapers, which means you can type this here into a scraper, and it's going to give you like tons of these questions people are asking. Right? So this is stuff you want to include in your document. And then at the bottom, stuff down here. So that's one way. But my favorite, that's good. So all this stuff you see, you're just going to need to put it into a spreadsheet. But I like people also ask. It kind of automates a lot of this stuff. So based on the copyright law seed word, like I showed you up here, these are phrases people are actually searching on. When was copyright law passed? That's interesting. I think that is very interesting. So when was copyright law passed? So is this something people are searching on, and is it something you can rank for? So it is something people are searching on. If not, it wouldn't have shown up. So when was copyright law passed? So what you want to do is look at, I think this comes from keywords everywhere. Right, okay. Sometimes I get confused with all the extensions that I have. SEO Quake's another one. Let me enable this so you can see SEO Quake. SEO Quake I do for more on-page stuff, but you can see this other bar showed up. So what I'm looking at is the places, the websites that are answering this query. What is the domain authority? So domain authority is, they just changed this to AS. So Moz has this domain authority, which is coming from keywords everywhere, and this is coming from SEO Quake, so it's 56. So it's between 0 and 100. So you can imagine 100's like Google. 95 is like Wikipedia, like the news website, CNN, Fox News, or whatever, probably like 87. Then you get into like Men's Health magazine and like, Sports Illustrated magazine, those are probably 78 or something like that. Then you get down to local businesses, those are in the 30s, 40s, 50s. So you kind of get the idea. Well, then you get down to like local blogs about food and stuff, those are probably 20s, 30s, 40s. So you get the idea. So the point here is if you look, so you can just kind of take the average of these two, 59, 56, 97. It's not, okay, hold on, let me see something here. Domain authority, 50. Okay, so I got it come from all kinds of different extensions. So I can probably, this is new in keywords everywhere. Right? So you can just get it from there. It doesn't have to be exact. This isn't a Google metric, right? So this is something that, it's just giving you a basic understanding. So look at the top 10 results or so. So 58, 98, so that's really high. You're not going to be able to, outrank Wikipedia. 52, so these are actually kind of low. 52, 60. So let's just do, so it's 58, 98, 52, 60. Let's say the other ones are 32, 12, 76, 54. Is that something you want to write on? I probably would. Most people might, let's say this one is, let's say it's like this. Is that something you want to write on? Some people would say no. I say yes, because you're not going to be able to get generally into the, well, you can. I mean, it just really depends. There's a lot that goes into it, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But why would you, if the top 4 results are very high authority, why would you want to do that? Well, you can get into these lower results. The goal is to get on page 1, the top 10. And then as you start getting traffic for these lower, on the lower of the page, you're going to start to see these will start going up as your domain authority increases, and as you get traffic to these lower these lower results here on the page, that people are actually on your site. They're actually reading your site, going through the content, and not hitting the back button. It makes sense that Google knows when people hit the back button, especially with Chrome, and that would be a signal to Google that the content didn't answer what they were looking for. Can't prove that, but it makes sense. So that's that. Now you'd want to basically go to each you don't want to spend too much time on this, on all of them, because it would take too much time, but maybe if you could, I go to the top 5 results or so. And again, this is all explained, and there's ways to automate a lot of this stuff. And what you want to do is, well, let's don't go to the PDF, even though that's really good, but it's just going to be easier to find one that's a non-PDF. Now, if the results are coming from Reddit or, like Yahoo Answers or whatever, then that's not, that's something you would want to write on, because that's assigned to Google. That is not an official authoritative answer anywhere. So what you want to do, how are these and actually Wikipedia is not a really good example either. Let's get an actual content piece on an actual website. And you can see this is coming from the UK. That's something that tells me, wow, okay, maybe I might want to do it. Actually, I think it's because I have an extension and I have my location. That's right. Turn to the Manchester because of you guys. So let's just keep it here. I could have kept it there, but okay. Yeah, sorry, I don't really plan these out. What I like to do is, some people would edit these videos. I like to keep it raw, so if I do have a problem, you can kind of see how my thought process is. So let's just go to this one. I guess it doesn't really matter. History of the copyright. So what you want to do is, how is this structured? What are their headings? Do they have media? What keywords are they using? Do they have bullet lists? And there's definite ways to write content, and that's explained in that video and that document that I have. And so what I like to do is go to SEO Quake. Let's see if I can find keywords that they're using. Work, printers. Okay, that's all pretty basic. Copyright laws, movable type. So that's something. So you want to add this to your, and that may not mean anything actually. So you might want to, the statute. These are keywords. See, liberty of printing. So this stuff isn't actually that good for this result, right? But what I like to do, sometimes it'll be good, sometimes it won't, is you go back and open this. I also have this extension called Text Optimizer. So based on all this text optimizer thinks these are keywords that would fit well into this text. And it didn't work, of course. Okay, let me refresh it. So again, this is a free tool. They have a paid version that's probably more, that I've never used it, but I'm assuming it's more advanced. Unable. Okay, here we go. This is good. Okay, so these are all keywords that this is based on, AI, artificial intelligence, that it think these keywords would fit well in this text. So you don't have to write all these down because there's tons. And I don't know if they're in order or not. I think they actually are. But I would just go look at these, like copyright law, copyright office, intellectual property, write these down in a spreadsheet, right? So that's another way. Then the other thing I like to do is copy it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, I had to pause it, but I'm back. Search for Google NLP API, and oddly enough, it doesn't work on my normal Chrome browser. I have to use Chrome Beta. Never been able to figure that out, but it also works in Firefox, whatever. So this is using the AI engine that Google uses. It makes sense. This is probably hooked into their, search spider, index, database, whatever you want to call it. So paste that text in here and then analyze. And so this is really powerful. Robot, boom. Because this is going to show you the keywords in that piece of text that Google thinks is important. And it's going to show you a lot of other interesting things. Okay, look at this. So entities. So creator is important. Roman, Greece, paper books, China. So this is good, but let's go down here. Let's sort it. And I'm no expert on this, but copyright law is very important to this content piece. So that's something you obviously want to write down. Origins has a high saliency of 0.03. So I don't want to include the origins keyword. Europe, right? Because we're doing Europe. And if it says like Europe and it says person, when you're writing your content, because you throw your content in here after you're done, you want to make sure that you it's Europe isn't or it could say Europe banned, right? So Google's not understanding what it is, so you'd want to make sure you would link it to the Wikipedia article or something so Google would better understand what it is. Copyright and movable type print, so that does seem to be important. Work. So these are other keywording opportunities. So that kind of gives you an idea. Well, let me show you one more thing of how to do it at a high level. That other video I have, as I said, will explain it. And here's another place. Now you could go to Google, Facebook groups. You could go to I like to say go where they go. Where are the people that talk about what you're doing? What are they talking about? What are podcast topics? What are latest posts in industry blogs, right? So let's do this. Let's go to Quora. My other thing, going back to the security part of it, you might be wondering how that relates to SEO. Google checks security of websites. If it detects your website's insecure, you're going to get hammered in the search rankings. Now, even if you recover from it, it's probably going to take a while before Google trusts you again. So let's search for copyright law. Now, this is obvious. You definitely should have what is copyright law. I mean, that's a core foundational piece of content. And keep in mind, when Google's determining what to rank, let's say you have a really good content piece on what is copyright law. If you have a lot of trash on your website that nobody's going to, right, Google takes your whole site into account, right? So you need to keep that in mind. If you have a lot of content nobody's going to, you want to prune that content and just get rid of it. I wouldn't redirect it. I notice you have redirects. I don't redirect things. It's not bad to have a broken link. I think that's healthy because Google is going to notice it and it's eventually going to purge the content from the search result. I don't know where people got the idea that you want to redirect content to unrelated content. It doesn't make any sense to me. So this is good, but what I like to do is go to past week or past month. This is interesting. This is really interesting. So this is giving you good ideas. Now also, if you had this content piece, you could kind of be sneaky about it and answer it down here in a summary, then have like a link that says reference and link to your website. And it's ideally you want to do the ones that don't have a lot of answers. Now, what I do, when I link to my website, I also link to another website as well, because it won't seem obvious that I'm spamming my website. This is why content's really important. Now, there's nowhere in here you could link to your services without it being considered spam. But you can get them in the door by linking to your content. And it's that brand exposure. What is it that people need to see a brand? I don't know if it's 5 times or 15 times, whatever. I'm not like an expert marketer, before they start to recognize it. So that's going to increase that brand exposure. So there's so many reasons content's important, right? And it sets you up as that word I was thinking of earlier is topical authority. By creating all this content, it establishes that you are a topical authority. And any content piece, you want to include an author profile at the bottom, because Google has something called EAT, Expertise, Authority, Trust. If you have a name underneath it, Google's going to start realizing this person is an expert in this topic. So that's that. Go watch that video, and it gets into that in a lot more detail. That's that. So schema. Schema is really important. It helps Google understand what your website is. Like this is let me just go to schema.org. Let's go to schema legal. Now, again, I'm not a schema expert, but there's plugins you can do to put all this stuff in. Basically, you implement this schema. And I put this in here for you. This is 5 types of schema for legal. Legal services. So this might not be exact, but you can kind of read what it is. So first thing you definitely want to do is say, I'm a local business. Puts in your address, your city, your state. So you'll hopefully show up as a card in the Google search results. You know, we get this rating schema. People love these stars. It makes things more clickable, and it takes up a lot more screen real estate. Logo, all kinds of stuff. So this is all the fields you could put in. Nobody puts in all these fields. It's ridiculous. But you'd probably put in 10 or so. This helps Google understand what the website's about. Now you could do it you would have schema for your lawyer profiles, for your videos perhaps, for any frequently asked questions that you have. All that stuff. So that's something I would get on immediately as well. Okay, website performance. This is your web page test. And I'll go over this just for a couple minutes. So in case something happens in the future, this is where I go to test all my stuff. So your core web vitals, this is what Google determined, the metrics Google uses to determine if a site is performing well. You're green in all 3. Contentful paint is how long things take to paint on the screen. Hold on, I got a cat climbing on my printer. Content layout shift, how things shift around as the page is loading. You have a 0, which I honestly don't think I've ever seen before. And total blocking time, scripts that are blocking other scripts. So you're doing really good. This is the waterfall chart. Actually didn't notice this. So this is a broken link, so you'd want to font awesome, and I did notice that. So get rid, let me put that in there. So you want to go fix that or find out what's going on. There's no need to load something if it's not attempt to load something if it's not coming up. But you can see this is basically all the stuff that's loading on your website: CSS, JavaScript, PNG. Okay, yeah. It doesn't need to be that big, but I mean, I wouldn't worry about it. So this is how long each thing takes to load. So if something's taking a long time to load, you'll be able to see it here. So that's that. But your site's I wouldn't waste any time on this. And don't just check your homepage. You need to check all your pages, your blog posts, your service pages, etc., 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 etc. Most people don't think about that. I created a video, how to use Screaming Frog. Hold on a second. And this is Screaming Frog. Let me get Screaming Frog up, and we're going to go over Screaming Frog in a lot more detail. Let me get your website. I closed it last night, so that's why it's not open. But it's it's a spider. It spiders your site and finds like page titles, all kinds of stuff. So this video will test all your, not this video, this tool, if you hook it into like Google Analytics, you can get what are the page views on all your web pages. And if you hook it into like the Google Page Speed Insights, excuse me, sorry about that, API, you can get the performance metrics on all the pages. Right? So let me just do this. We'll start it. It'll finish in the background. So, and we'll get into this. So you can see page titles. So these are the page titles of all your web pages. So this is your home page. This is the name check, services brochure, etc., etc. So if you configure the API access to Google Analytics, Google Search Console, you can get search traffic. You want page speed insights. You're going to get that information in columns way over here. And that's all explained in that video. And again, if you need me to go into more detail on any of this specific to your website, I will. But this, I didn't mean to close it. This could take 4 hours. Let me pause it real quick so I can get this loaded up without wasting your time. And we're going to get into this. So it's loading. So we'll come back to Screaming Frog. And you don't have a lot of pages, so it doesn't take that long. You can get the free version of that. I think you can do up to like 1,000 URLs. Maybe it's 10,000. I don't even know. And you don't have a lot of URLs, so you should be able to download the free version if you want. If you want to get the paid version, it's like $150 per year. It's not bad, but you probably don't need it. And then use UserBob and Inspectlet. So what this is, UserBob, is you can pay $20 for 20 sessions, so they're 1 minute each. And what you do is you just give an instruction and say, come to visit this website, give me your first impression. And you'll see somebody navigating your website, and you'll hear them talk out loud. Well, I like this, I don't like this. Oh, this looks broken or whatever. This is something, you're going to get a lot of good feedback on your website. Things you're never going to think of. But the best thing about it, you're going to start to see things will look broken to some people because they're using a different web browser combination, and that's what they're using is given to you in UserBob in the metrics. So this is something I do once a month for my websites because I want to see what people are thinking. Most people don't go to their own website. So what if you do a plugin update and it breaks something and you never know it because you don't go to every page of your website? So this is something I would do once a month. Now you could do 10-minute sessions at $10 each, but I just like to do it just to get a pulse of what people think about my website and make sure it's performing well. Inspectlet, you can get, I think, 50 free sessions per day, and you don't need more than that. And what that does is it's the same kind of thing. You put a little JavaScript on your website, but you don't ask them to do anything. You're just going to see people navigating on your website and see what they're clicking on. This is all really useful stuff. So about once a month, I'll go watch about, 20 or 30 of these sessions. And you can watch them like 2 times the playback speed or whatever, because I want to see what people are doing, and I want to see if anything's broken. I want to see if any pages are loading slow. That's something I would install immediately too, because you have to be very proactive with this stuff. Because again, if something's broken and somebody clicks the back button, that's a big problem. If something's a page has like typing errors or something, you want to be aware of that. So that's what that is. Uptime Robot and Uptrends. These are just free services. You can get, again, this is something you can get the paid service. What you're going to do, it's going to monitor your website in every 5 minutes for the free service, and if it's down, you're going to get an alert. So how this is related to SEO. If your website's constantly going down at 3 in the morning and you don't know it, Google's not going to rank you very high. And this happens, it's not common, but it does happen sometimes. A lot of hosting providers, I shouldn't say a lot, some hosting providers, when I worked at very large corporations in IT, and a lot of times we'd be like, well, we really should send an alert out. Well, we don't want to, so we're just going to do it real quick. Nobody's awake or whatever. So and maybe they take your website down. Or maybe they don't even know it. Maybe your website's going down because of some bug on the operating system or something. So free services, right? Okay, Screaming Frog. So this isn't a one-time thing. One thing I noticed is you didn't have a robots.txt, which is basically a directive to the Google Spider. So this is a blog that I run. Let me go here. I don't really do much with it anymore, but it's just like weird questions. Is there grapes and grape nuts? What's the difference between Coke and Coke Zero Sugar? Does screen auto rotation work in mobile devices in outer space? So you can see it's kind of fun. So if you want to waste time, you can go there and look at it. But it's basically just a place now. I used to do content once a week. Now I do it like once every few months because I'm so busy. But it's a nice test bed. So robots.txt. So this basically tells the Google search engine for all user agents, don't index WP admin. So you're probably indexing WP admin right now, and you shouldn't be, and allow them to index this, right? So it's basically allowing everything except, I shouldn't even have this in here. I don't think, but there's all kinds of things you can put in. And you can also specify your sitemap in here, but your sitemap is sitemap.xml, which is like a map for the search engine, for the search spider. So you're good there. That's something I would do. So moving along, and I'm exporting this as spreadsheets for you. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. This is some Google Ads stuff. This is some really good PDFs on how to use Google Ads. I didn't write them, but it's still useful free stuff that I found. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about it's in your directory. Basically, you'll see a directory called Screaming Frog. So these are all the links on your website, all the URLs. Now this includes scripts and everything, so it looks a little overwhelming, but you can go to all HTML. This is going to get rid of all the scripts. All right. Things that I noticed, things are non-indexable because they're moved permanently. This doesn't make any sense to me that you would link, I think this is one. Okay, this one actually makes sense. You moved MM Legal UK member Stephen Thompson. Okay, this actually looks the same unless I'm totally missing. Oh, one of them has the slash, one of them doesn't. So you just want to get rid of these redirects. Right? Because it slows things down and it's just messy. You have some. Okay, this has a dash. So you just want to go hunt these down. Go to in leaks and you can see where they are, and just go change these. Not a huge deal, but all this stuff adds up. And you did have some redirects that went to. I could have sworn I saw some trademark copyright. Maybe not. Okay, well, we'll get into them here in a little bit, or more as we go along. So that's that. So in other places you want to go, response codes. So I noticed you have a no response. Here, if you go to it, you get a no response. So you want to get rid of that. You don't want any broken links. That's a signal to Google that your website is not doing well. So these are all the redirects. So you just want to go through these one by one. And don't get overwhelmed with this stuff. You're like, wow, I can't do all this stuff, right? It's a 6-month plan that I work with clients on. It just takes a long time to go through all this stuff, right? So just think of maybe if you're not a full-time SEO, if you could put in like 5 hours a week, you can slowly knock this stuff out over a year, right? Something like that. So client errors, broken links. So you have a broken link, and we saw that in the waterfall chart on Web Page Test. This piece of JavaScript is a broken link, so you want to get to that. And I don't think you had any server errors, and you don't. So, URLs. Ideally, you want to have better keywords in your URLs. For example, employment. That's very generic. What does that mean? Employment legal services dash London or England or whatever, and if you're only doing it I think you're doing it throughout the whole country. So employment legal services, United Kingdom. But since you've already have them, I don't think I would redirect things, and go change everything at this point. But what you do want to change are your page titles. They're just very generic, right? Our services. Okay, so let's go to here. AGMS, annual general meetings. But what does that mean? So let's do this. Mortgage changes. And what I'm going to show you, I go over in that Create and Conquer. And I actually have a video on this. Here it is. Where am I at? Okay, thanks. Okay. Just briefly go over it with you real quick. Okay, so through is really cool. Again, free tool. I think you get 10 scrapes per month if you do the free tool. So what you'd want to do is not necessarily what your keywords are here, because this is too generic. So mortgage and changes is, so, but what are you trying to say? So let me find a better one. So I don't know what the shareholder agreements. Okay, let's just do that. Let's just do that. So log in. And let's put the keyword in. Shareholder agreements. That's another thing. Offering forms to download, free to download, like shareholder agreement forms, if that even makes sense. I'm sure that makes sense. You might think, well, that defeats the purpose of they're not going to do business with me. But it gets that traffic, and it's going to help get more leads. What a lot of people do is they want to do like DIY stuff or do it yourself. Yeah, DIY stuff. And they start doing it, and they're like, you know what, this is terrible, let me hire somebody, right? And they're going to come back to you because they have your document, it shows you know what you're doing. So let's scrape the SERP. SERP meaning search engine results page. So that's the search, well, obviously the search engine results page on Google. So what this is going to do is analyze the top results in the Google results page, and you're going to use that data to understand what to put in your titles and your meta descriptions. So the meta descriptions, are these here. This stuff, these little snippets. And you don't have any. So if you don't have any, Google is going to determine what to put there for you. Sometimes it'll overwrite what you put anyway, but it's nice because it's nice to put what you want there. Just hopefully it takes. Because think of this as like an advertisement. Like if this link just says, what was the shareholder agreements, and it's a weird meta description, that's not useful to the algorithm, and that's certainly not useful to like people trying to understand what's going on. At least I don't think so. And that's not a criticism. A lot of people, I guess it's a criticism, but it's not like being like harsh. A lot of people do this stuff because you need to use the keywords in your titles, in your meta descriptions, in your images that people are actually searching on because if not, Google's not going to display that page. It seems kind of obvious, but that's what you want to do. So basically, average word count. So you want to, anytime you do content, you want it to be around those words. So anyway, let's go to the main juice of this. So topics. So these are good topics. Shareholder agreement, business share, right, include, agreement include. It's actually not that useful, but you can go to 2 words. Shareholder agreement, agreement include, article. So the article incorporation is something I would focus on. Maybe not in the title, but this is how to get more information for the content piece. Outline. I don't even know what this is. Okay, this is for the title. So what are some common keywords in the title? Shareholder agreement, Westlaw, what the purpose of, Wikipedia share, what the. So you can see here, this is more like 5W stuff. So if you're offering a template, instead of just doing this, you would want to do shareholder agreement. Let's just say it's a template, even though I think yours is a service page. So I think it could be shareholder agreement service. But let's just do this so you get the idea of how this. So you don't want, since your title isn't optimized, you don't want to use that title in here. You want to use the title that it should be or something close to it. So let's say you're doing agreement. You go to title. So look, so this is shareholder agreement title. What was it? Template. And then you'd also want to include sample. And maybe make your own. Free would be another keyword. So you get the idea. This is stuff you want to put in the title. And headings. So this is the headings on the page. Sure. Template. So these are headings I would consider adding to the page. So you're just collecting information, a lot of information. Description. So this is the meta descriptions. These are the common keywords in the meta descriptions. Nothing really good there. Now there's a product called Surfer SEO, which I think it's like $70 a month. That can automate a lot of this stuff for you. I don't know exactly what it does, but I'm assuming it does a lot of this in the background. So if you're interested in doing that, you can buy it. But as a freelancer, as somebody that doesn't write a lot of content, I outsource it. I just need these free tools. And then questions. Boom, good stuff. Related searches, giving you more context. All right? So that's that. But I skipped a few things. So site structure is really important. Okay, we went over that. Site structure. So what site structure is, if you go to your website, I don't think you have any new content. I spent so much time on these, I can't remember. Yeah, 2021 is your last one. So in all of your content, you want to make sure anytime you're talking about a topic you have another content piece on, you want to make sure you link to that topic, right? Because that's helping Google understand what's what. And it helps people get from, obviously, from content piece to content piece. But the main thing here is persons with significant control. Let's see. It's your, anytime you link to, you do it pretty good here. I didn't see this before. An anchor text is the text that's used in the link helps Google understand what the link is. So I wouldn't just say this link. I would say you can click us by emailing here about our, copyright services, and link copyright services or whatever that goes to. So basically in all your content pieces, anytime you mention a service you offer, you want to make sure you link to that page, to one of these. Because let's say somebody's searching for copyright services and you mention copyright services in your blogs, in blog posts, but also on this service page, how does Google know which one to display? If all of them are linking to this Our Services page, then Google's going to know, okay, if somebody searches for copyright services, don't display the blog post, display this page, because this is the most important one on that topic. Okay, moving along, boom, redirects, fix broken links, use through, meta descriptions, and then optimize images, right? And yours are good, but the only thing you're not doing, and you only have like 2 images on your website, so as you build it out, because images are important, videos are important, YouTube's really important, TikTok's becoming more important, or it is important. You just want to make sure in the image name and in the alt text, you use the keywords in there too, right? Because Google uses all of this stuff to determine what a page is about. Okay, social media. So social media is, it used to be like 5 years ago you'd use social media and like just having it was like cool, maybe 10 years ago, honestly. But it's kind of just blah, blah, blah these days. But we do think it's a signal just to have it and be active with it, because it seems Google looks at it, and if you're active, it shows that you're on top of your, what you're doing. Maybe that's true, maybe that's not. But it's just good for, just this thing. If somebody clicks on your social media and you're not active, that's not good. So you can see the last thing you posted was 2020, so that's not good. So what you'd want to post on social media basically is your content, and then as you get a review, you could take a picture of the review and put it here in Google My Business, or I guess it's called Google Business Profile now. That's all you really need to do, right? And you don't have to just link to your content on your website. Any good content you come across on an industry blog or whatever, put that there. Now you don't want to do it multiple times per day, because people are going to tune out. Maybe once every 2 to 3 days, once a week, maybe twice a day, whatever. I would do it like once every 2 to 3 days, because people are going to tune out and mute you. Now, a thing with Facebook, they changed the algorithm a few years back to where content coming from business pages, a lot of people won't even see it. They just bury it. But it's something to do. It's a signal. Twitter, I don't think Twitter's going to be useful for you. But again, just do your content. Same thing. Nobody's going to really... Twitter is more, for debating and politics these days and sports and like trending to current events, like breaking news and stuff like that. And same thing with LinkedIn, right? Now, social media holiday calendars are really good. Holiday calendar. There's a day for everything. So on that blog, so let me show you. And I don't do it anymore. So if you go look, you're not going to see anymore. I'm logged in here, so it's going to load pretty slow. Okay, so yeah, I don't know why everything's so slow. It's crazy. Let's do Halloween. Of course, you don't have anything on Halloween, I don't think, and that wouldn't even apply to you. But take it for whatever topic you have. So what did Halloween... Hold on. And everything is clunky. Let me close this. I have a lot of extensions, so that's probably why, but I need them all. So, if I posted this to social media today, nobody's going to read it. But if I waited till Halloween and used the appropriate hashtags, then people are going to read it because they're curious, right? So this is a good piece. Where did Halloween come from, and why do we celebrate it? It's kind of weird if you really think about it, right? Like, why do we hand out candy and stuff like that? But, so what you got to do is look at the social media calendar. There's a day for everything. April. So look at all these days. So just go through these. Let's see if I can find one real quick. And 95% of these aren't going to apply. So you maybe have an article on like unplugging from work. I mean, that's not ideal, but you get the idea. And so you'd want to use this hashtag and write on it. I also, when I look at the top results in hashtag Halloween, I go to the top ones that have a lot of comments, and I put my content in those top comments too, because people are reading those tweets. So so just spend time here one day and just you'll probably find 5 or 6 that make sense for what you're doing. And then what you want to do is go add those to your Google Calendar or whatever calendar you use. So you don't have to come here every day and go, okay, nothing on March 12th, nothing on March 14th. You just add them to your Google Calendar, right? And of course, you need to create content pieces around those things. That's another way to get really good way to get traffic. Okay, we're at 45 minutes. Let's see, what are we at? Okay, things do speed up as we go along. Okay, don't move promotions. So this is what I call this my lay in wait strategy. What's getting buzz? Or anytime there's a trending topic in the news that's related to what you do, that's when you want to pounce and put your content on there. Facebook groups, like I said, go where they are. YouTube. So YouTube's really important, especially TikTok too, right? You're not doing any YouTube.
In this video, I'm going to share with you a step-by-step tutorial
this guy's really
for how
good.
to upload videos on YouTube. So by the end of it, you can...
This guy's really good. He goes into detail about how to properly upload a video. He's a SEO guy, so he does it from an SEO perspective. A lot of people don't know what fields to actually fill out. So if you have a video on a topic and you have that content piece, embed the video in that content piece. So you can imagine, and if you don't know what to do, you can use in that Qualify and Conquer. There's all kinds of keywording tools, but you can look over here. So Copyright Basics Crash Course. So this is something you could do. You can be sure a lot of these people are lawyers, right? Or they're actually like educational companies, because they do this to get that brand exposure. Copyright. So there's keyword tools you can use with this. This isn't showing a lot of stuff, but this is good stuff. More brand exposure. Google tends to like media, right? So this is something you would want to do. Just plug your keywords in there and see whatever people are doing, that's what you want to focus on. Now, the more niche, the better. So copyright law, United Kingdom. Because it's going to be harder to rank for this. It's going to be easier to rank for copyright law United Kingdom, but it's going to be even easier to rank for copyright law London, and it's going to be even easier to rank for copyright law, gaming industry London or whatever. You know what I mean? So the more niche, the better. So you just got to keep all that in mind. So hopefully this is giving you some good tips. This is all stuff that I do. TikTok is really big. If you go on TikTok, you see like real estate people giving advice, investors giving advice, all that stuff. So that's something you could do it on there as well. And you don't have to do all this stuff. Just whatever makes sense to you. Do the YouTube stuff for a few months. If it's not bringing any traffic, switch to TikTok for a few months, right? And you can pay people to do these YouTube videos. Somebody on Fiverr. And your hashtags never use more than 5 because it'll get put into like a spam engine. I normally don't do more than 3. Okay, evergreen content basically means you can post the same things over and over again. But you don't, not like every week. But if you have 200 pieces of content built up, every 200 days you can post the same thing over and over again on the social media channel. That's what I do, right? Because people forget about it. Then what are your competitors doing? Anytime you're trying to rank for anything, if you're trying to rank for a copyright law template, you always want to Google it and see what the top results are. And you want to mimic your content or landing page, like your service pages, around those top results, right? Because that's what Google's expecting. Word count, images, headers, keywords, all that stuff. And I go over that in that Qualify and Conquer. And then monitor your brand competition. You can just use Hootsuite, put your company name. I think I have this. I think I put this lower too. Monitor your business name in Hootsuite. So if anybody talks about it on social media, you're going to see it. But more importantly, people aren't going to really talk about it on social media like a legal firm generally. But set up a Google alert for your company name. Anytime Google sees your company name mentioned on the web, you're going to get an alert for it. Because what if somebody's talking negatively about your brand, about your law firm? You want to know about that stuff. So again, this is another free tool. It'll take you 3 minutes to set it up. Go to Google Alerts, add the law firm name, maybe even your lawyer names, because you don't want any of that bad PR. And then set it and forget it. So Ahrefs is now this is a paid tool, but I do a group by. I can show you. So it's, it's kind of weird. Sometimes I'll go to it and the language will be in like, Chinese or something. So you just got to change it back. Not a big deal because this tool is like $100 a month or something. I get it for like $10 a month because they do this group buy. So let me show you. This is really cool for your own website. And also with the shared license or group buy, I get like 10 searches per day or 15 searches per day. But, I'm not doing this all day, so I don't need to constantly do research. That's totally fine for me. So you can get all kinds of good stuff. Rankings, see your rankings going down. Your traffic, not your ranking. Referring domains. So this is interesting. What happened? Why did these referring domains crash like that? It's really interesting. That's something you'd want to investigate. If you want me to look into it, I certainly can do it. But you can see where your backlinks are coming from, right? You can see your top keywords, your top pages. Now, you could get a lot of this stuff from Google Analytics. And you might be thinking, well, that's cool, but I can get all this from Google Analytics, right? Director's House, that's interesting. So that's your top result. What is this? Huh. I like it because it's a little bit longer of a content piece, but you're saying, okay, that's good, right? But how is this really useful? You can get a good understanding of what's going on, but you can use Google Analytics. I like to use a plugin called Analytify. It brings the Google Analytics data into... Let me pause it real quick. I'll bring it up on my website so you can see what it is. Let me just show you this real quick. So I'm trying to log into my interesting answers, and I got it saved. So this iThemes plugin, it has two-factor authentication built into it, right? So it's got a lot of really cool features. I think it's the most feature-rich security plugin for the price, and I don't think it's even close. So let me get my... And you can do Google Authenticator. You can do... can't even think of the other one. Or you can just have it sent to an email. And that's what I'm doing here. Login authentication code. So I can just click continue. Now that's crazy. Let me try it one more time. Okay, it allowed me in. So let me just show you Analytify real quick. Now I use the free version, of course. I have a paid version, which I used to use. So I do this because I don't want to have to go to Google. I don't want to go to all these different web pages. The more stuff I can get into WordPress, the better. So you can see, with the paid version, you get this chart. I don't have it paid anymore. But you can see, so this is just for today. So I've got 20 views so far. And like I said, I don't do anything with this website anymore. I used to get a lot more. But since I don't do anything, I start ranking lower. But you can see these are your top pages for the day. So this is coming from Google Analytics, where they're coming from. Where they're actually, like the actual URL, social network activity, and all that stuff. So that's something you could install. I think it's great. Okay, so back to this. So this is good, but okay, I can get that from other sources, is what I should say. And I'm going to pause it real quick, and I'll be right back. Okay, so here's the power of it. You can't get any of this data on your competition. With this, you can. So this is a company that's similar to yours, a little bit, right? You didn't give me your top competition in Fiverr, at least I don't think so. Yeah, so that's something you definitely need to figure out. So here, so let's look at their top keywords. VR recruitment, okay, that might mean something to you. Construction agencies in Birmingham, that's kind of strange. Alliance recruitment consultants, so maybe recruitment consultants. Personal trainer recruitment. So this isn't exactly what you do, but basically what you're looking for, your competition. What keywords are they using that you're not using? You also want to look at their top pages. You also can look at their backlinks up here. Where are they getting backlinks that you're not getting backlinks from? Like certain directories where it says, like what I search for this, I search for hire secretary service. Look at all these lists. Reach out to these people and see if you can get on these lists. Lists, I should say. Right? So let's look at their top pages. Do you have all of these pages? Dubai Job Consultancy. A lot of times you'll find it for blog posts. Another thing you can do is put all of, this will be easier to understand because if you just go to IBM, right? So let's say you're a tech company offering IT services and cloud solutions and all that fun stuff. So look at this. Their top page is weather, which is very strange. What is blockchain? So if I would have a page on what is the blockchain. SPSS statistics software. Not sure what that is, but if it's not something specific to them, it's something I would have. But I also want to look, and you can actually see the ads these companies are running, right? So if they're running ads that are working, you can copy those ads. So you can look at Best Buy growth. These are the main two I like looking at. Organic keywords. And you can filter things up here. And everything I learned in Ahrefs, I learned in one day on YouTube. There's a lot of this stuff you won't ever use. So if you want to learn it, you can watch it on YouTube. I mean, I can teach it to you if you'd like, but I'm no expert. I just kind of use 4 or 5 things. There's cool tools up here too. Keywords Explorer, Content Explorer. So let's look at IBM. You can change the date. Volume, meaning how many people, is from one search to one view to like 100 views, whatever. I just keep it like this. All kinds of stuff. And let me pause it because it is taking a while. Okay, here we go. And this is probably because I'm on a group buy, why it's taking so long. Something else I should have commented on. This is a paid tool. But even if you don't want to pay for it, you can use the trial version, which is totally has all the features, I believe, for 7 days, and just export all this stuff to spreadsheets, and then just cancel it. So you can see IBM text-to-speech. So I'd write something on text-to-speech. Blockchain, MQ, natural language processing. So all this kind of stuff. Another thing you could do is content gap. So put in your top 3 competitors, and it's going to spit out the top keywords that they're using that you're not using. And that's stuff you need to focus on. So hopefully that all makes sense. I think I covered all that. Anything that's up and coming. Anything you're getting, you're not top, ranking at the top spot for, but you're ranking like 5 to 15, 5 to 20 in the search results. That's stuff you could focus on and improve that content. Went over that. What content can include your internal links in your highest performing pages. Should I? Okay, you can also do it. It's not just domain. You can do it per page, is what that means. So backlinks. Backlinks are very powerful and you said you knew what they were because it helps. It tells Google that. Hold on, I got a cat going crazy. 1 second. Okay, so it's a signal to Google that that website, that web page is good because there's a lot of links going into it. These are ways to get backlinks. Backlinks are very time consuming. You can buy backlinks, which seem to work. I don't get into that. I mean, it's just a hassle. And it's very, very expensive. But quality backlinks can cost hundreds of dollars. If you see somebody offering 1,000 backlinks for, $50, you're just wasting your time. Google's going to either penalize you or they're going to ignore it. Look for backlinks to content you've created before. Find backlinks to content that you have content for. You can link to your content. What did I put here? You can link to your content. Oh, okay. So we mentioned this as well. You want to get backlinks to your content, not your product or service. Reach out to sites that have shared your content in the past. Ask them for a backlink. Unlink brand mention. So anytime your company name's mentioned and they don't link to your website, you could reach out to them. Thank you for mentioning, our company. Would you mind putting a link to me? A link to my website. Sometimes they do it. Sometimes they don't. And it makes sense. When Google's determining the quality of your website, it looks at your entire web footprint. See all the places you're mentioned on the web, how reputable are you, et cetera, et cetera. What are your rankings on Yelp? I don't think you're on Yelp, and that probably doesn't make any sense for you to be on Yelp. But if you were like a restaurant, you'd see that, right? So that's important too. So what I'm saying is, even if it's just mentioned without a link, you're probably getting some credit for that. But for you, local backlinks are really big. Like trade organizations, you can sponsor stuff, food collections, any business relationships you have, donations, scholarships, local blogs are big. You could also search for, so if you didn't know, you could search for London blog. That's going to list a lot of London blogs. So you could reach out. Usually these smaller ones, hey, this is, I work for this. A lot of times they won't give you a backlink, but if you could say, we'll advertise for $50 a year or something, you put a little banner to our business on your website. So it's an advertisement, but Google's going to just look at it as a backlink, unless they put some specific code in it, which most people don't. You could also search for city, advertise on our site, sponsored author, so sponsored post. I thought I put something else here. So there's Google Alerts. You could also do, I'm just going to say London. You can just do England, business directory. Are you in all these websites? So these are called citation sources. What you want to do is search, what is it? Murray, Thompson, Moore. You don't want to just do this for you. Let me close this. You want to do this for your competition too, so you can see where they're at, where you're not. So you can see these are the directories. Let's see here. I'm trying to get some context of which ones you're currently in. So you'd search for your competition and see where they're at, and that's going to help you determine. See, you're not showing up over here in the panel for Google My Business, which is strange. That's something you'd want to, and I have a whole video on that, and we'll get into that a little bit. That's really, really important. Just try this. Oh, is it Murphy? No, that's why. Okay. I got some ducks over here. I'm sorry. Let me pause it. I'll be right back. Okay, sorry. I keep my window open for my cat, and she freaks out when she sees these ducks. It keeps her busy. Keeps her entertained. So, okay, so you get the idea. Over here, see, this is a problem with it. You only have 2 reviews, which isn't good. And we're going to get into that a little bit. And if you want me to do an entire local SEO audit, I can do that too. And I do that. Those videos can be like an hour as well. I could save a lot of time for you because I'm covering a lot of stuff, so I could probably get it down to like 30 minutes. So, and backlinks, like you could use Haro, help a reporter out. If you could help a reporter write an article, you get a backlink. Look at podcasts. You're an expert. You probably have certain techniques and things that you do. Reach out to these legal service podcasts. They're always looking for guests. You get it's brand exposure, you get a backlink, etc., etc. So not only you could do England Business Directory, what about United Kingdom Business Directory, Europe Business Directory, London Business Directory, Manchester Business Directory? Probably should just go look at, remember the city you're in. So yeah, Manchester. Okay. I guess that's Manchester United. So Google Business Profile, what did I do here? Is this my video?
As a local business owner, setting up a Google My Business listing should be a crucial part of your online marketing strategy. Why? Because A, it is the quickest route to be...
This guy's really good. It'll go through it step by step. The big thing, actually, when I open your Google Business Profile, I'll point some things out that you're not doing well. Okay, this is a previous audit I did for somebody's local SEO audit. So you can see it's an hour and a half, right? So if you could watch this and get most everything, I go over most every thing I would go through for your business, and you could just apply it to your business if you don't want to spend more money. Or I guess I would do it for free if you wanted to. But if you this would probably work for you. But if not, let me know and I'd be happy to do it. So this is a video on how to use GMB Crush to do competitive research. It's an extension. Basically, you want to see what again, this goes back to what your competition is doing well, and you want to use that information to build your business, Google My Business profile. So I'm not going to, as you can see, this video could be totally long, and ask for reviews. So reviews are very, very important. Especially you guys are building strong relationships with these people. You're not like selling them headphones. So you'd want to reach out to them, a week after, ask for that positive review on Google My Business, and then maybe one other place like LinkedIn or Facebook or something like that. But always on Google My Business. It's a very powerful ranking signal. But you want the email to be personal. You don't want it to be automated because people don't respond to those. So, and I get into a lot of that stuff too in this video. So here's some other observations. We're at an hour and 3 minutes, so we're pretty much on target. Okay, so one thing I noticed that people like to know who these people are they're working with. I did find the lawyers' profiles, but they weren't, now I can't remember where I found them. They should be up here. Like, what's the word? I'm like lawyer profile. Who are we? I guess who are we? And I didn't think the details were, well, maybe they were. Let's see. No, staff login. But I did see them somewhere. It might have been I got it in Screaming Frog. But you want to make that apparent up here. Why us? So the reason I asked this is this why us. What most people focus on who we are. Like if you, let's say I wanted to get a trademark lawyer, and I went here and I looked at your services, and I said, okay, trademark lawyer. Okay, that's good, but I mean, every trademark lawyer website has the same stuff. You need to focus a lot more on Why are you better than the competition? You definitely add that in the landing page here. And why, and you do it a little bit, but you can do it a lot better. I would focus on why up here, like why us, what makes you unique. And I think the thing that really stuck out to me was you're trusted by over 220 accounting firms. I would definitely put that up here above the fold, meaning above the fold before they have to scroll down. That's something I definitely would focus on. I think that's really important. I was working with a law firm 2 weeks ago. They had a lawyer that was involved in the Rooney Rule. You know that thing in sports about you have to interview one black person for a coach, for equality purposes, I should say. I can't think of the right word. This lawyer was involved in that, and they didn't have that mentioned especially since it's a trending topic right now. Another guy was involved, like in basically a lot of these famous lawsuits, and if that stuff you should put up top because that's really going to impress people. It's called social proof. It's going to show you know what you're doing, like they're heavy hitters. That's something I would put up here. So I definitely would focus on that more. Not an SEO thing, but it's going to help with conversions, 100%. Add phone number to the top right. This is just up here. It should always be up here. When you can click on it, you have it here, but it kind of gets lost. So just add this up here to the top right as well. And you have it down here. I don't remember. Okay, here, make this clickable. Moving along. So we went over that. Social proof. Okay, so social proof. Any like big clients you have or anything big? Are you mentioned in like any magazines? All that kind of stuff you want to add. So this is good. These logos. QuickBooks. We are company health authorized formation agent. So I guess you're authorized to work with these products, perhaps. But any stuff that adds to your social proof, you want to make sure you create those icons up here. Let's say you're mentioned like in the Financial Times. That's stuff you'd want to mention up here with the logo, and on the logo you click and go to the article. So these keywords you gave me, registered office, company formation, registration, alphabet shares, like the one I looked at, I don't even know what that means, alphabet shares, but if you want to rank for that, you have to include that on your homepage. And I like you have these little blurbs. I would tune these for keywords a lot better. But if you want to rank for alphabet shares, you need to include it here. And I don't think you have it here either. You need to have a landing page for it as well. And then you need to keyword optimize it. So if somebody's searching for alphabet shares, baseball or something, if you don't mention the word baseball on here, then you're not going to rank for it. You're going to have a statistical lower probability of ranking for it. So you need to find out what keywords people are using with this service that you're offering and incorporate that, hopefully in the title, if it doesn't make sense, in the content piece. On the landing page there, exactly. Siloing, that's just site structure we went over. Case ticker, nah, I don't know why I put that in there. There's probably a leftover. So this is actually just mentioned this. What makes you stand out? The Rooney Rule Alabama football team. That's exactly what I just said. The chat and capture are on top of it. See all these three things? You have this scroll up widget, or I don't know, that JavaScript or whatever. This chat and this capture are all on top of things. So it gets just kind of crowded on mobile as well. So this is something I would just, if possible, I don't know if you could even hide the capture thing. Maybe you can move this over. I know in most chat applets you can move it over here. Actually, people look over here for it. So if you could, not a huge deal. This is something I would move over because Google actually looks at this stuff. You might get an alert in Google Search Console that you have images overlaying other images. So not a huge deal. Another thing I noticed is if you click on it, it goes to WhatsApp. Why WhatsApp? A lot of people don't have, especially professionals, don't have WhatsApp on their phone. This is just an extra step, an extra possible hassle, an extra roadblock for people to contact you. Nope. Let's say I wanted to contact you and it said, okay, continue to chat. Maybe I have WhatsApp in here. I don't even know. Honestly, I don't think I've ever used it. Okay, so you can see I haven't used it in a while. But let's say I don't have it. I'm not going to waste time downloading and installing WhatsApp to contact you. You should just have a standard little chat applet. There's a free solution called Tidio, T-I-D-I-O, which you can use. And if you're not there, it'll time out. We're not here. Send us a note and we'll get back to you. Or click here and we'll get back to you within 24 hours. Service area. So it wasn't clear to me what areas you service. Do you just service United Kingdom? Do you service just Manchester? Or do you do worldwide? So that's something I would include here, like areas we service. at least here in the footer. A lot of people, what they do is they have that, then in every city they have a landing page describing that city, because it adds that geographical context. It's kind of spammy, so it's something I would do. But at a minimum, maybe not even from an algorithmic point of view, but from people looking at your website, you want to write looking at your website, they need to know where you offer services. My guess is it's the United Kingdom. What is it? Wales, England, Northern Ireland, and there's one more, Scotland, I think. But so I would include not just United Kingdom. I would include, if that's what it is, I would include those country names as well. All right. Okay. We went over this. So this is just something, since the titles are generic, so company secretarial. Shouldn't it be company secretarial services? So think about isn't that what people are searching on, company secretarial services? This is probably better, secretarial outsourcing. So trademarks and copyright. What about trademarks and copyright? Now it might seem spammy if you put services there, but on the home page I would specify services or outsourcing, company secretarial outsourcing here. And you want to make sure, if that's what you're focusing on, I'd want to include it here and probably in the second line, but definitely here in the third line, the keyword you're focusing on. And if you can give away, like a lot of law firms I work with, or like real estate agents, they'll basically say, if you contact me and set up a consultation, I'll give you a free tablet, a $50 Amazon Kindle, and you can load it with like your proposals and stuff like that. Seems kind of cheesy, but it works. If I'm looking to hire a real estate agent, like I said, most web pages look the same. They say, okay, we're efficient, we're the best, top quality, highest rated. But if one of them says get a free tablet with a free consultation or a $20 gift card or whatever, that's who I'm going to contact. May not be appropriate for business to business stuff, but it's something to consider. People, that sways people's minds. So 6-month plan. So I'm going to give you this. This is exactly what I do. And if you want to do it on your own, here's exactly what I do. This is the stuff I do in month 1, month 2. So you can see this isn't something that you can knock out in 2 weeks. Month 3, month 4, month 5. So this rarely gets finished in 4 months. Month 5 and month 6 is where I finish stuff up. And then ongoing stuff. These are things you need ongoing. So that's it. I mean, there's nothing fancy about it. It just takes time. So I'm going to send you that. And I actually have, shocking, I know. Should have put this in here. Let me. Made a video on it. So you can go here and get more specifics on it. And if you have any questions about any of that stuff, let me know. I'd be happy to answer. We look really happy. Whoops. We offer these services, but what makes them different? Okay, where were we? Google. I put some good Google ad docs I'm including in this delivery, but just make sure you know what you're doing. A lot of people waste money with Google ads because they don't know what they're doing. Use negative keywords, geographical targeting, all that stuff. I can get into that if you want. Annual surveys. Totally not SEO related, but one of the most effective things I've done with my client. Every year, every 6 months perhaps, all of your clients, send them, if you send them a 10-question survey, they're not going to do it. Say, what do we do good? What do we do good? What do we do good? What do we change? Overall rating. It's a good way to get feedback. Now, how it kind of is SEO related, you can get good information just from a business point of view, but also this can help you determine what you want to emphasize on your webpage, right? So it's more of like a marketing thing more than anything else, but it definitely helps. Case studies and testimonials, that stuff's really good. You had some testimonials at the bottom, I believe. Like I said, I spent a lot of time doing this, so I can't remember half the stuff that I'm talking about. Yeah, see, this is good. This is good. Case studies, though, I would definitely do case studies and link to those case studies. Feature anything, whatever that. So this is more of a marketing thing. How does your services benefit the customer? If you see a commercial on toothpaste, they don't say, well, we use fluoride made in Michigan. We use only the brightest colors, whatever. They focus on, if you use our toothpaste, you're going to have really white teeth and be able to date very good looking women or very good looking men or whatever. So you do a really good job of focusing on what, but you need to do a better job of focusing on why. A lot of very business B2B paid B2B web pages and companies really forget that, because it's just, I guess, I don't know why. I guess it's consumer. You understand that you need to attract the consumer. Like, I don't even know how to explain it, but that's something you need to focus on more. Google Analytics, I went over Analytify, Google Search Console, which is the dashboard for Google Search. You definitely need to get on that, because it's gonna show you any security errors, any search index errors, et cetera. Then don't forget about Bing, right? Because Bing, if somebody gets lazy and searches for here and searches for, whatever, that's gonna pop up Bing. Also, Amazon Alexa uses Bing. It doesn't use Google. I think Bing is about 10% of the traffic, perhaps. Not a lot, but you never know. Maybe that executive for a multi-million-dollar company is using Bing, and he comes across your website, and maybe that's the one that gets you a multi-million-dollar contract. If you wouldn't have done something as simple as configuring your Bing, what's it called, Webmaster Tools or whatever, and again, this is 10 minutes. It's going to be real quick. Maybe you wouldn't have shown up. Then don't forget about the international search engines. Again, 10 minutes, 10 minutes. And that's mainly, they're going to find your content. They're probably not going to hire you for legal services. Maybe they are. I don't know. If you only want to subscribe to one resource for SEO information, subscribe to the newsletter SEO Roundtable. They summarize news from around the day, all the other websites, and it's really good information. Then follow Google Search Central, John Mueller, and Google Search on Google Search Liaison on Twitter. This guy is really good. He's very friendly. He's like the Google Search advocate, I think, at Google. The lead search advocate at Google. A lot of times he'll answer, sometimes he won't, but a lot of times he answers questions, and he posts a lot of good information on Took a Lunch, JavaScript editor. Now some of it can be technical like this, but you can get a lot of good information. And he's just real friendly, and it's a fun feed. These are 3 of probably the 20 or so Twitter accounts that I get alerts for, because I want to know what's going on immediately. So let's look at Google Search Liaison, just so you can kind of see. And while that's doing that, we're going to pull this up. This is good. So this is all AI stuff. This is good. Local review stuff, right? So that's all good. You have to have this information. Back to I didn't get into the Google My Business stuff. There's that video, but one thing that's important, you have a lot of services that Google My Business, or I keep saying the old name, Google Business Profile has removed based on user feedback. So you need to go investigate what's going on. So another thing you need to do is any service you have listed in Google Business Profile, you need to have that corresponding landing page on your website. And there's a few other things like that. But you should be able to pick it up if you watch that other video. If you want me to get more personalized with it, I will. But again, I don't want to go on for 5 hours. And then track using my spreadsheet. So a lot of people like this. It's very basic. And there's paid tools you can automate this stuff, but you don't really get a lot of information. All you do is once a month, come here and track your progress. How many Google Analytics users? Are you getting 20 users this month, 23, 25? Are you going in the right direction? Now it's gonna ebb and flow, right? How many sessions? What's the bounce rate? Google Search Console clicks are you getting from Google Search Console? So that's how many search engine clicks. And this is backlinks. This is SEM Rush stuff. This is Bing information. How many impressions are you getting in search? Now, you don't have to. This is like everything you could possibly want to track. This is Google My Business stuff. So this is something you want to track month to month. And then the keywords you're trying to rank for. What are you ranking? So let's say you're ranking 52nd in the search results this month. Maybe next month you're 43rd. Then you're going to eventually go back to 62. But don't freak out, because if you're doing things right, hopefully you start going back up again. So you feel free to use this. It's not pretty, but it works. This is what I give my clients once per month. And then what I do is I give it to them once per month. Then I make a little 10-minute video showing on things that went wrong and things that went right. And if something goes wrong for 2 months, sometimes 3 months, I don't freak out. I only look for trends every 3 to 4 months. Because like I said, it takes Google a long time. It takes Google some time to figure out what's going on. So I hope this helped. I'm going to send you all this stuff. And again, I wanted to get it to you last night, but my other laptop totally died, or something's going on with it. I'm not sure. But at least you have it for today. If you need, I will be here whether you need help. If you have any questions, a lot of people that I have worked with, a lot of people I take on as clients and do stuff and that a lot. But some I've just done audits for like this and don't do anything else with, but 2 years later, 3 years later, they'll send me a question. Hey, you did that audit for me. I want your opinion on something. I want your advice on something. I'm more than happy to help out with that stuff. So if you have any questions, just let me know, and I'll be happy to answer it. Now, you might get different opinions from different SEO people, but I'll give you my best, what I believe is to be the best answer. You can get me on Fiverr, or you can email me here. If there's anything I would definitely do the security audit, whether it's through me. Well, I would do the security audit as a whole, not just the iThemes plugin, but that's up to you. If you want that, let me know. I can just give you the plugin if you want it. But if you want the full security audit, let me know. I think it's on Fiverr for like $50. It's real cheap because I'm trying to get it. It's not considered a business Fiverr Pro gig yet. It might even be $30. I want to get a lot of traffic on it, though I can migrate it to a pro gig, and eventually it's going to be probably like $150 or something. So if you want that, let me know. So I would ask for a review. I think that would be very helpful to me. Hopefully you found this useful. If you didn't, just before leaving a negative review, just let me know what I didn't cover that you would have hoped I would cover, and I will go back and do that. And if you found it useful, it'd be very helpful if you could write a few sentences, maybe some of the things that you liked, 2, 3. If you want to write 20 sentences, that would be good. If you don't want to do that, but you are happy with it and just want to leave a positive review and like one word saying very helpful, that's really, I appreciate that too. So that's it. Hopefully you found this useful. I can't see the clock anymore, but probably about an hour and 15 minutes. That's about what I thought. So you have a lot of work ahead of you, obviously. And let me know if you have any questions, and have a good day.